Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. Got another Cool Tune video for you. Because I'm so addicted to playing this deck. I love synchro decks, and I love decks that are very skill testing. And this, of course, is both. Now here we're going first with a less than ideal hand. We're actually going to have to pass right back over to our opponent. But this is also the kind of hand where I'm like not the most afraid of having to do that. Obviously it would have been nice to set call by, but I really want this VODS to be legal. We've got the Maxi, Gamma, and Clip. Obviously we're going to look to use the Gamma before the Clip, and also of course the VODS before the Clip. But we should be able to do quite a bit here. Our opponent's going to lead with Cool Tune Q. I'm actually going to fire off VODS and not Gamma. I'm doing this specifically in order to draw more Cool Tune cards to use not only with Clip on their turn, but then to hopefully have something to do on my follow-up turn. What I really would not want to happen here is like Gamma their Q, they like set 2 cards and pass, and then I top deck Effect Veiler. That would be really, really bad for me. So we're going to do it like this. They're going to chain Cool Tune Synchro, and we get to chain the Maxi. If you got VODS plus Maxi, you always want to fire off the VODS first to bait out the interaction. Be it an Ash Blossom, a Call By, or in this case, an Extender that could special summon. I say could because our opponent actually chose to add the JJ Cool Tune instead. They're going to also special summon the Rose Whip off of the Q. Extra normal summon Rekko. We're going to use the Effect Veiler on that, but not the Gamma, because at this point I'm kind of planning to use the Gamma with the Clip to make Track Maker. Assuming they don't activate another monster effect here. They're going to Tribute, go for Mix. Mix is going to activate, and here I am going to use the Gamma, especially because I top decked a Mix, so now I have something to use with Clip anyway. But it's looking like our opponent's trying not to give us as many draws as possible. While still putting up some amount of resistance, right? They got the Rose Whip. It looks like they're trying to make like a remix going into our turn, but as they go to end their main phase, we're going to make Track Maker. Track Maker, Chainlink 1, Mix, Chainlink 2, popping the Rose Whip, Clip, Chainlink 3 to block both of them. Alright, Clip ends up banishing their Crackle. There goes the Rose Whip. Don't have to worry about that with our handful of spells anymore. And we can even add a Q. Continuing their main phase, they're going to activate Rotary, reveal Clip, extra normal summon Clip. Now they're going to go RS plus the Rotary in hand in order to make Track Maker. They might feel a little bit emboldened, right? Because they feel like, oh, my opponent used up some of their disruption. But remember, they're still under both VODS and Maxi. They're going to go Track Maker, Chainlink 1, Rotary, Chainlink 2, which was a huge misplay because I do have the Ash Blossom. If they had done it the other way around, they would have gotten their search and they would have gotten to look at my hand. But as it stands, we're going to stop the hand looking. They'll still get to add a Cool Tune Synchro, I assume is what they'll get here. Yeah. But it's going to have a lot less impact. Battle phase, it can hit over Gamma. That doesn't matter. It's totally fine. Driver is going to get banished. Also fine because we're not on Delta. And here is Synchro Overtake. Pretty good top deck here. Going to start by normal summoning Q. I was waiting to see if they would like Veiler or Ash Blossom it just to hit them with one of my... well, really my Call By, if not one of my 1, 2, 3, 4 extenders in hand. But nope, Q plus Rotary was enough to make them concede. I think my opponent, I don't know, it's interesting. I don't disagree with the amount of playing necessarily that they did into Maxi plus VODS. I get they were trying to just end on the remix, but at the same time, you really got to be careful in a situation like the mirror match. Not that they necessarily would have known, but in a deck like Cool Tune, which can play up to half of its deck as hand traps, giving them even a couple of draws while still trying to make plays will often result in your plays getting stopped and then your opponent having plays for their turn. But pretty good example of turning what looks like a pretty bad going first hand into a pretty easy victory. I kind of knew it as soon as I saw the hand. I was like, no plays, but this is enough to get the dub anyway. Yeah, let's go ahead and go into our next duel now. All right, here is another going first game. We're up against Sky Striker, but we did win the coin flip, so it's not like they picked going second. Had a lot of really good back and forth with against Sky Striker when playing Cool Tune. That last Cool Tune video, we saw that game against Sky Striker where we made, you know, back-to-back reviving Zalen, all that fun stuff. Here we're going to go open Rekko, normal summon it for Rotary. They're going to fire off a Droll and Mockbird, which is really annoying. But what I can do here is I can go Rekko plus Ghost Mansion into Loudness War. That way, I at least have some amount of disruption going into my opponent's turn. I can pop a spell or trap card whenever they activate a card or effect. So if it's something like a continuous or field spell that needs to remain on the field in order to resolve, that can potentially act as a negate, on top of course, having, you know, these hand traps here. Yeah, obviously couldn't make Trackmaker, though, with the Droll live. They're going to go Engage. I'm going to let it resolve. Not going to use the Ash Blossom just yet. I'll use it against a later Engage or a Summon from Deck effect because we have the Droll and Lockbird here. So they're going to normal summon Ray, activate the Ace 0. They're going to try to use the Ace 0 effect, but I don't even have to use Ash Blossom. I can use Ghost Spell instead because the Ace 0 can summon Ray or Rose from the deck or graveyard. And that means that this card includes an effect that summons monsters from the graveyard, meaning that we can use Ghost Spell here. But again, even if I didn't have Ghost Spell, we saved the Ash Blossom for a situation just like this. Okay, there is the Bell, negating the Ace 0. They're going to set just one before passing. We love only seeing one face down card. Drawing for a turn. Gamma's not ideal, but what I can do here is I can activate Rotary, reveal Gamma. They're going to chain Maxi. And I'm actually going to chain the Loudness War, not the Ash Blossom. We're going to pop their face down card, which ends up being Forbidden Droplet. Rotary extra normal summon, and here I am going to sink for 7 in order to make the Zalen. Now we can activate Rotary's effect. We see Ash Blossom plus 2 Lemnis Gate. So I am going to set Cool Tune Synchro and then simply pass. Because I'm not really scared of their hand at all. They can activate Lemnis Gate. We're going to chain Cool Tune Synchro, which of course means we can also chain the Zalen. Of course they can use their Ash Blossom here, which means I can no longer negate the Lemnis Gate, but now it doesn't matter if they bounce my cards, because now I've already used Cool Tune Synchro, and I've already used Ash Blossom. So we can Cool Tune Synchro for clip, we'll let Lemnis Gate resolve, and they're going to fire off a triple tax to try to draw 2. We're going to use our Ash Blossom against that, and then that's going to get the concede, because they only have one card left in hand. The Lemnis Gate, I'm kind of surprised they didn't bounce the Zalen, although they might not have been able to, because I don't remember exactly how this card works. For every 3, and they only put back 2. That's right, that's what it was. Okay, so I should have looked at their graveyard and seen that I didn't even need to try to use Zalen there. Could have saved the Cool Tune Synchro for any point, but I mean, it didn't really matter, because they didn't really have anything going on with their hand there anyway. Okay, let's go into our next replay. Okay, this is going to be a bit of a brief replay. It's only one turn, my first turn, but we're up against Radiant Typhoon, who's actually going to end up making a lot of plays, like turn 0, and I'll show you how we end up interacting with those. Alright, love this hand. I see a starter and multiple extenders, including the Effect Veiler. They're going to fire off a Perulia. Fine, it is what it is. We're going to go Overtake. They're going to chain Ash Blossom. Okay, so I was hoping to use the Overtake in order to special summon Rekko and avoid giving them even one draw. But what we can do here is we can chain the Cool Tune Synchro. We're going to add Q, and then that way we have at least some slightly better plays. But they're going to go Varun and special summon here. We're going to normal summon Q, give them one draw off Perulia. Summoning Rotary, we can now tune Q plus Rotary into Trackmaker and see exactly what we're dealing with here. Q Chainlink 1, Rotary Chainlink 2, with Trackmaker as Chainlink 3. Again, I like doing it this way because if they had Ash Blossom, they would have already used it. Granted, I guess they could have drawn it for the Perulia there. Although, no, yeah, they would still have had it already. Yeah, I thought it was foolish for some reason, even though I said Perulia. But yeah, now we can look at their top deck after seeing their hand while still chain blocking both of the information effects. So Trackmaker, we're going to add the JJ Cool Tune. Rotary, let's take a peek at their hand. Okay, I see Wind Witch Snowbell. Very interesting. They've got Radiant Typhoon, Eldom. They have Harpy's Featherstorm, which I'm really not that big of a fan of, kind of for the exact scenario that's playing out for my opponent right now. This card is only good going first and really doesn't do much of anything going second, which in a best of 1 format, you really can't be giving deck space to a card that's only good going first. If my opponent was playing in a best of 3 format and they were side decking the Featherstorms in, for the games they would go first, I think that would be a lot better. But in Master Duel Ranked Ladder, I don't think this card is optimal in Radiant Typhoon. But yeah, we get to peek at their hand, and this information is going to be key. They're not even going to let me look at the top card of their deck. See, it doesn't matter a lot of the time how much interaction your opponent's got, even if it ends up being something like Perulia or Fulos, because this deck is able to maximize information gained while minimizing the amount of advantage we give our opponent. Think about if they'd resolved Fulos instead of Perulia. We would have given them 2 draws, 1 for Q, 1 for Trackmaker, but we still could have added Cool Tune Synchro, set up JJ Cool Tune while also looking at their hand and peeling away the top cards of their deck, putting us in a situation where, again, even if you're getting hit with Molcharmi cards, as you can see, you're going to end up on top pretty much every time anyway. Well, ideally. Sometimes you can avoid it, but obviously it's situation to situation. We have time for at least one more duel, so let's finish off with that one. And our final opponent is also going to be on Cool Tune. This is going to be a going second game against the mirror match. So let's see how we open here. Okay, we have Ash Blossom and Ghost Bell. Not bad, not bad. Let's see what they end up doing. They're going to start with Rotary, revealing Q, Normal Summon Q, and then activate. I'm going to let it resolve, because they have the Rotary in hand anyway, and I don't really care if they summon Rosewhip, because, well, as you can see, I don't even have any spells in hand, so shouldn't stop me from making plays here. Now here they are actually going to chain block against Ash Blossom, which this really was like, ugh, for me. I was kind of hoping to stop one of these searches, but it's actually still not that big of a deal necessarily. I can just Ash Blossom the JJ Cool Tune as well, which I'm probably going to just end up doing at this point. Okay, they banished Rekko, put Cool Tune Synchro on the bottom. Don't really care about that. And they're going to add, yeah, JJ Cool Tune plus Cool Tune Synchro. Makes sense. Here's Synchro Overtake, summoning the Rekko. Rekko is going to get to activate here, adding Mix. And all of a sudden, now I'm in a situation where the Ash Blossom against the JJ Cool Tune is looking a lot worse. And I probably, looking back, I probably should have just used that Ash Blossom against the Synchro Overtake. I guess it wouldn't have super mattered, although, to be fair, it might have ended up mattering, because I don't even think they're going to use the JJ Cool Tune effect at this point. Okay, they're going to go Trackmaker plus Q into Zalen. Yeah, I totally threw any opportunity to use Ash Blossom here. Now they've got back-to-back out, and now things are just looking really, really bad. I think Synchro Overtake was the moment to use Ash Blossom. I got a little bit greedy trying to wait. I should have realized by the time Overtake was activated, it wouldn't matter, really, the JJ Cool Tune. And this opponent is going to demonstrate, a very prominent tactic that I've seen a lot from other Cool Tune players, and kind of where I picked up on the idea myself to start using the back-to-back and Zalen. Of course, you can use Zalen on turn 1 to make the back-to-back, and then when your opponent starts activating monster effects, you can revive the Zalen, and now all of a sudden it becomes a lot more difficult for your opponent to play through your board. We're going to normal summon the Q, they're going to chain Cool Tune Synchro. Here I'm going to use Ash Blossom. I actually don't hate having Ash Blossom in this scenario, or at least I wouldn't if my opponent didn't get to revive the Zalen. So at this point, things are looking pretty dicey. We do still have Rotary plus Mix, but of course, our opponent's still going to have some opportunities to make plays. Thanks to the Ghost Spell, we did force both of the back-to-back interactions, but now they've got RS, and like I said, things are just not looking ideal. Okay, here we're going to activate Rico. They're going to chain Mix on Q, and then RS on the Rico. And I think this might have been when I did not have... I did have Vices on Rotera. It's right there. We do have a normal summon for Mix. They're going to chain Ghost Bell to that. So that unfortunately gets negated. See, oh, no. I was going to say I shouldn't have conceded there, but I think... No, here's the problem, right? Because I had the two mixes in hand, but I always forget when I'm playing this deck, you can't just use a tuner from hand whenever. It's gotta be with a cool tune monster. So for some reason I had in my head that, oh, I can go Omri Terra plus Mix in hand to make back-to-back, but that doesn't work. So unfortunately, while RS and back-to-back are out, it's just not really that viable to make there. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but our opponent played very well, and they are on a cool tune, so I thought I'd show this game anyway. Alright, so yeah, now that I've shown you the gameplay, let me show you the deck list. Alright, here is the deck, and as you can see, I am pretty much still on the exact same build. As I mentioned in my last Cool Tune video, I really like maximizing on the number of 3-ofs in this deck. It just makes things very, very consistent, right? You're always going to see, like, when you have fewer individual cards because they're at multiple copies within your deck, you're kind of just guaranteeing, like, I'm just going to see a combination of basically, like, a dozen cards, and they're all cards I want to open between hand traps and starters. Well, I guess I should say starters, but I guess Mix is also a kind of starter. Anyway, yeah, the idea here is that by maximizing out the number of copies per card, we are reducing the number of awkward hands. I have thought about making some swaps, like trying to play some Deltas or possibly Ghost Warner. I'm a little bit more up on Delta right now, personally. I actually really like the Psy-Frame cards. I know people talk about drawing Driver, which obviously isn't ideal. But honestly, it's going to be statistically the vast minority of your games, and it might look really weird to see the Driver with only the one Gamma. That is part of the reason why I kind of want to play more Delta. But not even really the major reason. The major reason is just to have another level 2 tuner to use with Mix and Clip, right? But I think that Gamma, even if it's your only Psy-Frame monster, is still worth considering. As far as hand traps go, it's very, very powerful. And if you look historically at top 10 rating duel lists and Duelist Cup top 100 lists, you'll see a lot of Gammas in decks that you wouldn't normally think of playing them. I think that a lot of people kind of look at the Driver and get really intimidated by the idea of opening it or top decking it. And also it's really easy to look at these two and be like, oh, it can't be worth it to play a literal vanilla Garnet just to play one hand trap, right? But I'm telling you, this hand trap is so strong, I think it is 100% worth it. I love Gamma. I really, really do. If I really wanted to try Ghost Warner, I'd probably just take out the Psy-Frame cards, but again, for me, the drawback of drawing Driver is so minimal compared to the upside of resolving Gamma, which is so, so good. Love it. But that's pretty much, I think, all I have to say about the list for now, because I haven't really updated it, so I don't have too much to add. Just some thoughts about the Psy-Frame cards there. But yeah, thank you as always for watching. Super appreciate your support. And with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to our outro. That way we can thank our YouTube members and Patreon subscribers for their very generous extra support there as well. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which by the way is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.